is the Conservative Colonel Podcast with Harrison Dawes, where one man stands against the rising tide of liberalism. This officer in the battle to preserve our nation is the Conservative Colonel.
Nothing ends here. Our hopes and our journeys continue.
And here's Harrison Dawes.
Welcome back to the Conservative Colonel Podcast. I'm your host, Harrison Dawes. And as always, I'm joined by our illustrious co-host. That dyslexia kicked in right there. Our co-host, Grace. And we are joined by our special guest, Sam. Again, it's good to see Sam back on the show. It's been a hot minute. It's been a hot minute for all of us.
No, I was telling Graves and everything. I was like, hey, when are you guys recording again? And he kind of told me, and I was just like, hey, well, whatever you're doing, sign me up. So it's cool to be back.
Well,
and
we're
then
happy.
Schedule changes.
Oh, gosh. You know what? Anytime I think that my work life is just going to be nice, calm, peaceful, easy to record, it seems like my work has like a sixth sense, like a spidey sense, and they decide, like, let's throw all we can. Let's just throw everything we can to make scheduling hard. And it's been like that this week. We had it scheduled for Wednesday, Thursday, and now, of course, Friday, a bit late episode of the Conservative Colonel Podcast. We do apologize, but honestly, I'm just happy we're all able to find some time today to get it on our schedule. I was very happy we moved it. We scheduled it twice today. I got caught up in a pretty long meeting and then had to sell a puppy afterwards for my farm. And then it's also my grandfather's birthday, so I had to drive to the house and drop off his gift and make plans for supper tonight, which, funny enough, I'm going to run late for. And it's just today is the gift that keeps on giving. But before we kind of jump into tonight's topic, because I know Graves has been, bless his heart, he's been waiting to talk about the government shutdown, talk about scheduling conflicts. The government shutdown happened for 43 days, if I'm not mistaken, the longest in American history. And Graves has been wanting to talk about it since then. And bless his heart, scheduling conflicts have been just out the door with us on the show. I wish I could have thought about letting Graves just host a show by himself. It didn't even pop in my mind, even though Graves has done it before. I can't believe it's taken this long to ask Sam back. Sam was basically, there was like a 6-episode period where Sam was on every episode. He's become a regular.
For some reason, Graves just couldn't get rid of me. I don't know why. Even though now I've known Graves for like. So it was just a period of time. Him and I just texting back and forth and just, hey, you want to do a show? I was like, all right, yeah, sign me up.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm happy to have. Let's call ourselves the Conservative Amigos.
I told him about how we had a state representative on, and he's like, oh, man, that's awesome. When y'all going to do one next? I was like, well, probably next week.
You can never be too sure, but Sam, if I know my Christmas schedule like I think I do, don't worry, you'll be back on the show. Poor Graves, y'all probably be holding the fort down most of December.
All right, let's get it.
So I'll go ahead and thank Sam for that, because Sam has come in clutch for both me and Graves helping us out on the show. And can't thank him enough for his work in the conservative movement and, of course, here on the show. But before we kind of dive into this podcast, let me remind everybody to go check us out at conservativecolonel.com and our new episodes release hopefully every Thursday. That's just kind of how we get to these this year. But we're on our main platform, Spreaker, but we're also on Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music and Audible, Cashbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Listen Notes, and Good Pods. And of course, the video format of the show releases on YouTube every Wednesday. And please share these episodes out, share our website out, leave a lovely 5-star review. And if you're coming in from our 2-year anniversary, yes, it has been 2 years of this show. Very just, golly, that's hard to believe. But we have been doing this podcast for 2 years now. We had Representative Stacey Wilkes on. It was a great episode. If you didn't listen to that, I do highly encourage you all to go back to last week's episode. Don't click off this one. Hold on. But after this episode, go listen to that one. It was a great episode. I had a great time. And please share that episode out as well as this one, because we do have some very interesting topics. If you can't tell by the title and description, I can't wait to jump into, because I'm one of those people. I focus so much sometimes on Mississippi, I overlook the federal, which is why I'm so happy to have Graves and Sam on this show to help me out, because I probably should have focused a bit more on the government shutdown, but I'm a Jeffersonian conservative, as I've pointed out on the show. So I'm one of those people that I'll die on the hill that the federal government shutdown shouldn't affect me. Even if it does, I'm going to just not with the federal government. It's kind of my downfall in this scenario. But we're also going to talk about redistricting, and that's a topic I just have not really talked about on the show before. So I'm really interested in Sam and Graves' talking tonight. But real quick, I do want to point out Representative Wilkes did hint at a special announcement that she was giving me this week on the Conservative Colonel podcast. And I can happily announce that Representative Stacey Wilkes will be getting her own Super Talk Media podcast, which will be available on Apple, Audible, Spotify, Stitcher, and tune in for more platforms as they come announced. But it is sponsored by Super Talk Mississippi. The name of her podcast will be Faith, Family, and Mississippi. And you're listening to the first guest of that show, me. I will be returning the favor, if you will, with Representative Wilkes, as I will be her first guest on the show. So let's everybody please pray for Stacey, because if anybody knows me, Graves knows this, I am a rambler. And it can take me a while to get to a point. That's why I've just given Graves free reign to interrupt me if I'm off the ball, because sometimes I don't even know where I'm going with a thought. So let's all please pray for her, as we will be recording soon. And hopefully I can announce when my episode will be airing. And again, to all my listeners and supporters, I ask that you please tune into her podcast. But without any further ado, so I don't have to interrupt everybody for a break, I'm going to be answering Graves' 43-day prayer with a please, Graves, take it over with the government shutdown.
Yeah, so been a long time. This was the longest shutdown in government history, which is funny. The second longest was also from Trump's first term, and that they both happen in a similar way. Different points of elections, but Democrats are so desperate now that they did it before the midterms. So in the past, when they did this government shutdown, I think it was for 30-ish days. That was because they wanted to pump up the base to get back to majority for the midterms, and now they did the same thing, but even worse. SNAP benefits, like, okay, we can have a conversation about that. I'm not all for that, but they also wanted to get $1.5 trillion for healthcare, is the way that they claimed it. It was not for United States citizens' healthcare. Some of it would have been, but the majority of that money, and they'll say it doesn't happen. You can go look at state laws like New York, where they actually have written into their healthcare bills in the state that a lot of that money was going to go to would be given to illegals for their health care for, quote, emergencies. But let's be honest, they probably used it on everyday type health care too. So they wanted money out of it, right? That's one thing they wanted. They didn't get that part. Sam mentioned this before the show, that they did get the main thing was to turn their base up. And so that was a lot of it. But I am proud, I'll give credit where credit's due, that the Republicans did not let them put the $1.5 trillion in there. What makes me mad is all the lies that were being told in the media, how the Republicans have the majority. So it's on us that the shutdown's happening. And it's just so simple that when a filibuster is in play, you have to have 60 votes. There are 53 Republicans in the Senate. That means we need 7 more votes. It's really simple math. But their people are so brainwashed that they just forget about that. And so they blame it on us. They blame it on us. They don't get part of what they want, but they let it go on long enough that they won the elections they cared about this year. And there's one thing Sam probably knows more about this than me, is the 8 senators that are going to get, I think, compensation or something for being spied on by the Biden government that was thrown in there before it actually got passed, which I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I feel like that could set a weird precedent. But, those are my main things that, we can discuss and get further into. But that's just the main stuff I wanted to point out.
I think when it does come to like the 8 senators thing, I think there's people in the House working on maybe like removing that.
They did vote against. Yeah, that's right.
The 8 senators that was Lindsey Graham, Tommy Tuberville, Dan Sullivan, Alaska, Marsha Blackburn, and Bill Hagerty of Tennessee, Johnson, Loomis, and Josh Hawley. So like their phone records all got leaked. Were requested from Jack Smith. That's the whole like Arctic Frost thing, and there's not been like too much coverage about the Arctic Frost or anything, which I'm not really surprised by. But it is still kind of crazy that during all that time period, like
I haven't heard of that till now.
It was kind of crazy. Still, 8 senators got spied on, and they all kind of chimed in, said the same thing of why am I being spied on? Bill Hagerty said the exact same thing, where he said the only thing that every single one of us have in common is that we're all Republicans. That's the one thing we have in common. So that whole fight scenario, it's kind of crazy to think about that. Like that did kind of happen during the Biden admin. But yeah, I think they each got 500,000, but there's people trying to work on just to get rid of that. I think I don't know too much more other than that, but Graves is correct about one of the things that the Democrats kept dying on this hill for was the funding for healthcare, or the funding healthcare for the illegal immigrants and all that. And of all the hills to die on, imagine dying on that hill. I want healthcare not for American citizens, but for illegal citizens. And again, it's such a crazy hill to die on. But every single Democrat just kept voting no. During the first wave of stuff, there were 3 that came over. It was Fetterman of Pennsylvania, Angus King, who's the independent in Maine, but he caucuses with Democrats, and Cortez Masto of Nevada. They all came over. I think Rand Paul was voting no too. I think he even voted no the last round, which it is what it is. So they had all split off before then because they were like, yeah, we hate the bill, but we don't want the government to shut down. But Schumer, kept holding out, and they got what they wanted. They energized.
I heard he wanted to keep it through Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that too. He wanted to go longer, but they accomplished all that. They accomplished what they wanted during the 25 elections of the Virginia elections, the New Jersey governor, the Virginia governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general, and New York City mayor, which I'm going to keep it a buck. I knew Mamdani was going to win. Like I saw the writing on the wall. Even if a lot of people got mad at Curtis Sliwa for not dropping out, even if he didn't drop out and every single one of his voters went to Cuomo, Mamdani still would have won. The math was the math. It still wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, Sliwa didn't get a whole lot.
No, he didn't even crack. I said he'd be lucky if he cracked 10%. I don't even think he cracked 10%. I think it was 8 or 9.
Yeah.
But he kept trying to say, I got the motion on my side. I got the motion. Clearly there was no motion. And, it was just
I do feel bad for him because he's done so much for the city and safety and been there for his whole life.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think now, his name's going to have a little bit of like a bad taste. No one's going to want to do anything with him for a while, which kind of sucks too. But, at that point, again, it is what it is.
Yeah, and I do want to point out the craziness with the shutdown. And man, we could dedicate a whole episode to the New York City mayor. My gosh, that's special. But the dying on the hill of, and they would say this, we're doing this for the citizens of this country, for Americans. And yet, it's easy to point out what they were doing.
Their state laws allow illegals to get it.
Yeah. And I just don't remember where in our Constitution we gave the government to help illegal immigrants. Again, if it's in the Constitution, the federal government can do it. If it's not, it's up to the discretion of the states. And I don't see anybody, a single person, pointing out somewhere in the Constitution where it says we look after the welfare of illegal immigrants. I don't see it. You know what? I'll search. You know what, Sam? I'll send you a message if I find it.
I'll tell you what they say. They say that. Oh my bad. They just say that they are like every person that is a resident who is within the borders of the United States is supposed to get due process and get rights and stuff. And it's like, well, no, not every person literally.
Well, because what is it? It's the 20 million, probably more likely 30 million, people that came through here. And I'll give them credit. The administration give them credit for what they're doing. They are rolling it, back. They're working on it. They're getting people gone. They're trying to get them deported. Even like the whole self-deportation aspect of you self-deport, you got a chance to come back. We'll give, they give them I think it's like $1,000. We'll give you money. Just go back home and wait your turn. It's at the point now where we got to give them money to leave. Versus we have, people in office that just want to give them money to stay as long as they vote for a certain party and get rid of voter ID laws. But, funny how that works. With the shutdown, there was a period of time where a lot of the journalists, even on the Hill, they couldn't do anything. Nothing was happening on the Hill. No one was really in town besides the senators for the most part, that were just voting to keep the government back open. But for the most part, no one was really in town. So journalists spent time just going after Mike Johnson. They just kept tweeting at Mike Johnson and trying to harass him on Twitter. Which I thought was kind of funny. It's just you guys had nothing better to do, so you want to just pick a Twitter fight, X fight, whatever you want to call it. I still call it Twitter. But that's what they did. They just spent their time going after Mike Johnson and harassing him online.
I'll give them credit for just some of the weirdest stuff I've ever seen in my life happening during this shutdown when it comes to political moves. As you say, attacking Johnson. And I remember someone saying, do you see what's happening on Twitter? And I was like, what's happening now? And I do remember someone specifically telling me about Johnson and just being like, okay. So we're just.
Well, it's that. And it's Graves pointed it out where they're spinning it as well, Republicans control the House, the Senate, the presidency, all that. But they rely on people being stupid and not knowing about the filibuster or not knowing about the majority. They rely on that, which unfortunately a lot of people don't know about the filibuster. And I know President Trump has called for eliminating filibuster. I don't exactly know how to feel about that. I'm not an expert in any kind of those policies. To me, it sounds like a bad idea, but what do I know?
I'll have to say I disagree with it, because as soon as we don't have a conservative majority, which you can make the argument we don't have it now, but as soon as, say, President Trump leaves and we don't even have someone in the White House defending us, say, in the next election, just for the worst case scenario, the Democrats get the majority, that filibuster is designed to save us. Now, is it being abused? 100%. And should people become aware of the filibuster? Also 100%. If the government is trying to, or the Democrats in this case, are trying to say, look, it's the Republicans' fault. We could shoot back to the education system of this country. People should know about the filibuster and know, yes, it's there as a protection of majorities. We're not I forgot the term, but we want to make sure every side is represented here in this country. But you're right. It's the fact that people don't know about it, and it's the Democrats weaponizing it like they have, just like they weaponized the judicial system when they went after Trump, and then, act like it's a shock of a lifetime when Trump actually, says, well, y'all abuse power and y'all are corrupt and y'all broken laws. So yes, y'all being investigated for crimes. And, the Democrats, oh my gosh, he's weaponizing the law. Yeah, y'all are funny. But, gosh almighty. I'll disagree with it. But I will say in this case, there needs to be a better way to get the budget passed. And I know one of my favorite ones, oh gosh, who put it forth? I think Macy said that we should, approve a budget by like a separated basics. Like, okay, let's go by this.
Not like they didn't do that to him forever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The weaponization of the judicial thing, but go section by section. So the stuff that we all agree on, let's just say in this case, the VA providing stuff for veterans, vote on that. And then that also makes it so you can, if someone votes against something just because they want to keep the government shut down, it's a lot more apparent what they're voting against. That's one of my solutions to the problem. As I said, though, I didn't really dive into it deep. I just kind of happened to find that opinion out there and agree with it. But, I haven't really dived into it per se.
Hey, sorry to cut you guys off. As of 4 minutes ago, according to Kobesi letter, some other accounts going on Twitter, and Marjorie Taylor Greene herself, there's a video now. She is resigning from Congress in January.
Oh my gosh. Let's take a quick commercial break and rebound.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
We'll be right back after this message.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Welcome back to the longest commercial break in the podcast history. Let us all please thank Sam for staying on as long as he did. I had to go get supper for my family, which was unexpected, and poor Graves has had to leave just due to connection and our platform that we record the podcast on not really cooperating with us tonight. But we were joking about a party earlier, so let me delete that. I don't think we're going to get into that this show just yet. That's one of those shows that that'll get me canceled again. And it's happened so recently. Let's just take a break.
Harrison, can you not get yourself canceled for a couple weeks or something, man? Just a couple weeks. That's all you got to do.
I know it's just so hard. I'm so opinionated. Dag nabbit. I'll blame Trump for inspiring me to get canceled. I can do that because he was the one that kind of inspired me or played a role in making me want to get involved. So shout out to our lovely president. Keep up the great work, Mr. President. But we do have some news, as we talked about right before the commercial break, which by the time y'all listen to this podcast might be coming out a bit more frequently. Because when we saw it, it was really only Fox had announced it. And now I see a couple news outlets making a press about it. But we did want to touch on this, even though it's not really on the lineup for tonight, which is MTG Taylor Green resigning effective immediately January, I think, 5th. Resigning from Congress. I don't really know Miss Green well. I'll say it, right here and just being honest. I don't know Representative Green well. I have heard of her name a couple times, but I've never really dived into her record. And of course, I'm one of those people. I like to have all the facts before I dish out judgment. So I will say this. I think no one is opposed to or don't know the idea that I am a Thomas Macy fan, and he supported her. So I don't really know how to feel because, again, President Trump came out against her. I haven't done any research. So I have two people that I do respect and admire telling me two separate things. So I'll probably address it on another episode, but this is news, and I do want to tell at least her side of things. As Sam knows, as you all know, our listeners know, news is very fast-paced when it comes to politics, and the truth can always be hidden sometimes. So I do want to point out this is just from her perspective. We're not counting in Trump. We're not counting in the Democrats. We're not counting in the who might be telling the truth. I'm just going to kind of report what she said, and we're just going to kind of move on to the redistricting. Because to my knowledge, me and Sam kind of talked about this during the break. I don't know Green that well, so I can't really talk about her service or talk about if it's a loss to the conservative movement yet that she stepped down. As I said, that's going to take a bit more research on my end. Sam is welcome to help out in that regard. Anytime I can get free labor from Sam, I'm going to take it. But
that's what I do best. But yes, it just to throw my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, go ahead.
It kind of feels like not the end of an era, but like she had assumed office in 2021, so she's only been there for 5 years now. But during like the 5-year period, it just kind of she was kind of a firebrand. She was headstrong, dove out headfirst in everything, and he was the chair of the Doge subcommittee. Watched plenty of those committee hearings on, the Doge people, all the reps in that committee. They were really fun to watch just because it got to the Democrats and like Jasmine Crockett just kind of screaming at each other for a second, and then Brandon Gill kind of just puts them in their place. Who's awesome, by the way. He's a congressman from Texas. He's super cool. But yeah, no, it's kind of a shock to really say the least.
That's really all. Like, I guess I can't compute it if that means sense. Like, I'm completely in shock. I talked about how long the break was. I mean, I was gone for 30, 40 minutes getting this food. Sam was doing research. I came back. We probably talked for another 20, 30 minutes, knowing us. Me and Sam will start talking, and we got so off topic it wasn't even funny.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know how we did that, but I guess that's a sign of a good friendship, Sam. Mm-hmm. We can talk about anything, but that's really all I can say about it right now is I'm just utterly in shock. As I said, I've been hearing good things about her recently. I heard some things from Trump recently, and before I could form an opinion, boom, she's gone. I know she's been in Congress for 5 years, but as I've expressed on the show before, there's so many senators, there's so many representatives. I can't know everybody. I'll try my best. But I'm a Mississippi guy. I focus on Mississippi a lot.
That's kind of what I'm for in
Yeah.
our kind of little group. I kind of know a little bit about everybody for the most part, at least the Republicans anyway. A lot of the Democrats, yeah, I'll keep tabs on, but then you get to the random people in California and New York, and I have no idea who they are.
Mental patients.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's actually jumping in from that. I think it might be a good segue into the redistricting. Harrison, if you want to get into that.
Yeah, I'll tell everybody that we're just kind of in shock. She lists a lot of reasons for her resignation. We'll kind of dive into that next episode. Give it a week to let more stuff come up, because I'm sure she will be asked about it. I'm sure she might release some more. I'm sure we'll have to see President Trump's reaction, the conservative movement's reaction. And I'd love to kind of talk about it more in detail. So I'm going to agree with Sam here. Stay in tune for next week's Conservative Colonel podcast as we dive into it. It'll be a bit weird because next week is Thanksgiving, so we might release an early episode, might not. Who the heck knows? We'll figure it out when the time comes. But yeah, no, let's go into redistricting, because that's kind of one of the other topics for tonight. And we only got about 30 minutes left, and we'll have to take another commercial break at some point. And there's just not enough information right now for me to form an opinion on the Green resignation. But just wanted y'all to be informed of it and to know that there's going to be two sides, and the truth is somewhere in the middle. And so we'll keep you appraised of that as more information comes out. So Sam, take it away.
Yeah. So, I mean, the whole redistricting thing kind of really started. Someone set it off about, the House already having a slim majority. It was a 2-seat majority whenever every single seat was filled. There's 1 seat not filled as of right now, as of November. There's a special election in Tennessee going on. So they started getting to these redistricting wars, doing mid-decade redistricting. It started in Texas, and there was the whole fight in Texas. The state Democrats left office, that way they didn't have to vote on it. And it was actually really funny, by the time that they all came back, they pretty much got forced to come back because they got their paychecks all basically withheld, because they're like, well, we can't prevent you from getting paid, but we can change how you get paid. And it was paper checks instead of a direct deposit into a bank account. It was like, hey, you want your money? You got to come get your money. And so that started there, but then Gavin Newsom made a fit and threatened to, draw 5 seats to cancel out the 5 seats in Texas, which that was one of the things in this November on the ballots that really Democrats really won on, was Prop 50. And I was talking to a buddy of ours, and they did a survey, and it was the majority of people in the survey said they voted for Prop 50 because they thought it was a way to impeach Trump in California. First place. So that all happened, and they a lot of other states started jumping in. What's really funny though is a lot of Democrat states can't gerrymander because they basically already do. The prime example is Illinois, and even there's 2 districts in Maryland where it looks like scoliosis. It just looks like a big giant S everywhere in Maryland. And so a lot of the Republican states, Kansas has been back and forth. They have a blue seat they can get rid of. They're doing it. They're not doing it. The state Senate president said, no, we're doing it. I haven't really heard much more. Just today, South Carolina said that there might be some motion in South Carolina to get rid of their 1 blue seat. The Indiana, they can get rid of 2 seats. And the Republican state senators, there's a few of them there that are, no, we're not doing it. We don't want to do it. And Trump has already said, all right, I'm down to primary them. And now the governor said the same thing. He's like, I got to do what I got to do. We're going to do this. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. So there's 2 seats there. I want Nebraska to do it because Don Bacon, who's a very moderate Republican, like he's pretty moderate. He's pretty centrist, basically. Once it is retiring, and we're going to lose that seat anyway because his area is Omaha, and Omaha is like the one blue spot. It gave Kamala Harris electoral vote and Joe Biden, and I think even Clinton. No, not Clinton. It was just Biden and Kamala. It gave them an electoral point. So I would want them to redistrict. Florida, they might be able to. They can get like maybe 3 or 5 seats out of Florida, especially if they overturn the voting, like VRA districts, Voting Rights Act districts, where it's like you have to have like minority representation. If they overdo that, then game on. A bunch of states can draw out blue seats, including Mississippi. Y'all have an opportunity to get rid of Benny Thompson. I know Graves would love that the most because he did really like Benny Thompson.
If you're a Mississippian, you have a strong dislike for Benny Thompson because it makes no sense why used to be a super conservative state has this one section just for a Democrat just to have up there. I wouldn't mind it in the state level and for the national level. I kind of wanted to hear your opinion on it. So, we've heard a lot about how it's wrong to do. And of course, the Democrats, they always say something's wrong to do after they've done it. So, what do you think? Is this an honest to goodness good thing for the Republicans to do in their states, for the national government, and of course their state governments? Because this could have an effect where if you do it on the national level, well, heck, you can do it on your state level, redistrict, and whichever party is in control at the time, all of a sudden has a pretty strong grip over that state.
So, I mean, I would say Democrats have already done it for years and Republicans just haven't. So if they're doing it, let's level the playing field. And you're going to hear that argument. You're going to hear other arguments of like, well, why should we stoop to their level? If this was the other way around, they would 100% do it to the Republicans. So they absolutely would. There's no reason why they wouldn't. They did it in 2 districts in 2024. The courts made Alabama and Louisiana redraw a congressional seat of theirs for more minority representation. So we lost 2 seats there. New York also did mid-decade, not barely even mid-decade redistricting. They redrew lines in 2024, and we lost 3 seats in New York whenever we had a huge red wave in 2022 from the governor's election. So we lost 3 seats there, and we already lost a seat in Alabama, and we lost a seat. The one in Louisiana specifically, it is a straight line from Shreveport all the way to, I think, Baton Rouge about. It is just a straight blue line. And they just did it again recently. They made they made Utah redraw maps. They submitted a map, and a judge said, no, we're going to use this map. And it basically turned one of their districts into a giant blue dot in Salt Lake City. And it went from like a Trump plus 24 to a Kamala Harris plus 24, something like that. So they just made that seat a Dem sinkhole. So, they still do it to us whenever they can. So why not?
And I'll say this. The reason I asked your opinion on it is I'm still forming an opinion. I'm very honest with stuff like that. I'm still forming an opinion simply because in Mississippi, Delbert the Democrat. Sorry, it's been a while since I got to say it. We've missed you.
It felt good.
It felt good. I've missed you in the news, Delbert. But Delbert the Democrat, I don't know if you know this, Sam, but one of our most conservative voices in the Senate, we redistrict, I think, every 10 years here in Mississippi. And it was time. And so Delbert, when he redistricted the Mississippi state level, he cut out this Republican seat and combined it with a majority Democrat area. And now she's fighting against a Democrat stronghold here in Mississippi, and there's no way she can win. So she lost her seat.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what my thing is. I'm a bit worried that at some point it could come back to bite us. But as you said, the thing that kind of gets me going on it is the fact that they've been doing it for years anyway. So why not fight fire with fire in this case, redistrict, strengthen our states? And I know, for instance, one of the things that popped in my head as soon as I heard about this, golly, we could really use redistricting here on the national level in Mississippi and in the state level to strengthen our hold of this state because, Sam, we've talked about on the show before. I don't know if you've been on, but Mississippi is weird. We're majority conservative or Republican, but we're turning purple.
Well, I think it also has to do with maybe the optics of the state too, because you guys have very conservative people, but then some of your representatives, obviously not saying any names or whatever, they're not all the way conservative. That's the issue there. So why vote for those people? Why vote, I guess, in general, in the first place, to some? But it's like you said, a lot of them have been doing this for years. A lot of Democrats have done it for years. Like I said, Illinois is a prime example. Illinois has 17 congressional seats, and 12 of them are splintered around Chicago. Like there's only 3 Republicans in the state, and they made one of the Republican areas. It kind of looks like Pac-Man. It just looks like this, and there's just a blue line through it to have another blue seat. Oregon has 6 districts, and the only Republican district there is the entire right half of the state. That's why there's 12 or 13 counties wanting to secede away from Oregon and become part of Idaho and do the whole greater Idaho thing. And 4 of those seats are splintered out from Portland. Washington State is the same thing. There's seats splintered around Seattle. California is the prime example out of all of them. There's seats splintered around San Francisco, LA. Any blue state has seats like that. And the Democrats in Virginia have also threatened to do the redistricting and just splinter everything from Loudoun, Fairfax counties, any of the blue strongholds, basically.
Virginia definitely needs it to save itself. I have been completely shocked by Virginia, and I know, Sam, you got a special case there since you worked there.
Exactly. It's really funny because a West Virginia state senator, I follow him on Twitter, Chris Rose or Chris Smith, one of the two. I can't remember his name right off the top of my head now. He's now basically tried introducing the idea that of greater Idaho, but for West Virginia, of having a bunch of these conservative counties all on the border in Virginia and parts of Maryland too, to secede away from the states and join West Virginia. He's thrown that idea out there, and I'm like, you know what? I believe in greater West Virginia. So,
well, it's funny to me because the fun fact about being a government that started by saying, we're seceding from from England, is the fact that just like a Baptist church, there's a lot of people that will throw it around as, all right, we're just done, and it's become a joke, but it's making me smile because the only reason West Virginia is here is because they decided to secede from Virginia.
I hear it all the time with people that I work with too. But you know what? Even though I don't live in the state obviously anymore, it's where I'm from, born and raised, family's there, all that. And so, I got it on it's tattooed on my arm. You can't really tell, but
That's cool.
Recently, mountains. And then it says "Take me home" underneath of it. So I got it tattooed on me, and there's always going to be a love for the state. And I'm glad there's a lot of really good Republicans in the state. Pat Morrissey is a good governor. The congressman that represents the area I'm from, Riley Moore, super awesome. I am very much happy with him. But I wish, obviously it was the case for a lot of the other states. I wish there was more stuff like that in Mississippi. Yes. Where, you guys got talent there, It's just it's going to take a second.
It will, and I have faith.
Bringing
but,
it all back to the point,
yeah.
the fact of the matter is to kind of maybe finishing
Sam?
in decade redistricting. I'm all for it. Again, they've done it to us for years, so why not fight back? We're finally not a party anymore. The Republican Party, I don't want to say was a party of losers by any stretch of the word. They just got comfortable winning every once in a while. And it was like, okay, we won. We're cool with that. And so we're going to let other people win, and then we'll come back and win again eventually. Why not keep winning? This is one of the ways where we can keep winning. And again, it's a bunch of these states that all get on board to be able to do it. So absolutely do it. They redrew a seat in North Carolina, so we're going to at least get a seat there.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Sam, because I've been saying on the show for years, if you want to get the federal government under control, get your state under control. If you get your state conservative, if you get them to be real conservative values, all of a sudden, guess who that affects? That affects your representation from that state on the national level, and then the federal government will fall back in line. We could potentially drain the swamp finally. The fact of the matter, I've told people that since Trump got elected, the poor man, you have one guy up there trying to drain the swamp. The guy needs help, people. And the only way to do that is to get your states in line. And so the more you say it, the more I think I'm for redistricting. By the way, I'm for you for West Virginia. Let's get the great state of what'd you call it? The Great West Virginia,
Greater West Virginia,
Greater West Virginia,
like Greater Idaho. They wanted it's basically Greater West Virginia. But,
well, I'll say it like this: I believe any state or any group because has that right in this government. Again, we were founded on secession. And of course, I don't know if you know this, but in Louisiana, there was a place close to New Orleans, and they hated the liberal ideology that New Orleans put on their area. So they petitioned to secede from the city of New Orleans, and they formed their own city that's red. And again,
cool.
Yeah, and you got to think of poor Northern California. I know they're majority conservative, and they're probably getting tired of just the constant.
Well, that's why there was always a split too, because the right half of the state is basically all red, besides a blue area, which I think is Sacramento, but I'm not 100%. And they talked about wanting to secede away from California, or not join a state. Maybe they do their own state, something. I don't know, but it's all the coast is all blue, besides one little red dot and a mix of all the blue, and it was Sandy or Orange County. Not specifically San Diego, but Orange County.
Bless their heart.
Well, again, it's just crazy to think about. It's also really funny that whenever Democrats do it, it's just redistricting, but then Republicans do it, then it's gerrymandering.
I've noticed that.
Classic bait and switch. But no, whenever it comes to the redistricting fight, all for it. Let's do it. You have the power to be able to do it, so why not do it? Why not be a party of winners and keep winning, mind you? We won the presidency, we won the Senate, we won the House, we cleaned, we won the popular vote. So keep winning, keep going, keep the momentum going. Why do you want to stop that momentum? Because you get comfortable winning every once in a while? Absolutely not.
I'll put it like this. I think the states obviously have the power to redistrict how they wish. And if your state just really likes the conservative philosophy, the conservative values, the conservative movement, what's stopping you? I've said it. I'll say it on the show till I'm blue in the dead gum face. The 10th Amendment states all powers not delegated in this document to the federal government are the power of the states. Since the federal government doesn't have that in the Constitution, if I'm not mistaken, guess what, states? Do it. The Democrats have been doing it for years. I pulled up Mississippi's districts, and I'm not even getting into our 4-district system right now. And my gosh, I looked at it. Bloody awful. We need to do it. But my gosh, let's do it.
You know what? I will say real quick, if you wanted to look up the Ohio map that they passed, I'm very upset about the Ohio map because the Republicans there turned it into a compromise map where they made one seat more red. That Trump has already been winning this seat. It's Ohio 9 as Marcy Kaptur. She kept winning that seat, or he's won that seat like the past 3 times he's run now. So they made that seat more red to finally get rid of her. But they made one seat more blue, and it's Ohio 13, the 13th district. He only lost that seat by like maybe like 0.2, a point at most. And they made that seat more blue. And then they turned another seat into a competitive seat. And it just looks ugly. It looks like half a rectangle just gave up and a little swish down in. And they made another district. It looks like half a question mark.
I'm looking at it right now.
It's ugly. It looks ugly, and I don't like it. I don't like that they did that.
What is this districting?
It is an ugly map. There are people better at redistricting on Twitter. We could have had a 13-2. We could have had 13-2. Now it's like 12 or 13-1-1 or something like that by the time you get to like the competitive one. It's terrible and ugly, and I hate that map. I wish they would have just went all out with it and done like 13-2. Like they probably could. It's Ohio now. Ohio's a pretty red state now. It's not really a swing state anymore. And they gave up on it.
I'm looking at these and I'm just so confused. Like what?
But you see what I'm saying about the 2 districts in particular. You see you're looking right at it. Like I said, they got half a question mark in an area. It sucks. I hate that map.
It's really confusing. I'm looking at it.
It's a compromise map, and it sucks. Is what it is.
So you say Ohio is mainly conservative now.
I mean, I'm not saying conservative, but Trump's won it the past 3 elections. There was a supermajority between the governor, state senate, state house, 2 Republican senators. They finally got rid of Sherrod Brown in the last election. Mm-hmm. It is by means a red state. Same with Florida. There's a million more Republicans in Florida now. Florida was a swing state. Florida's not a swing state anymore. Mm. Keep the foot on the gas. Keep the pedal to the metal. Keep the momentum going. Why you only get comfortable winning these battles every so often, I don't understand it. Why not just keep winning? You won once, cool.
Here's my thing about the whole compromise system. It's great to compromise. Our country was founded on compromise. But I've noticed a pattern, Sam, and tell me if you've noticed it too. We'll compromise in good faith that the Democrats, when they're in power, will compromise with us. Sam, you know what I've noticed hasn't been happening any?
And what would that be, Harrison?
The Democrats compromising with us.
It's exactly like what happened in Bush's first term whenever he signed a bill with Democrats after Democrats were saying, no, it's not going to raise taxes. And guess what happens? It raised taxes. That's what cost him a second term. Was getting psyoped by Democrats. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. They're going to do it. So guess what? Why not fight back? Why not actually win? It makes no sense to me.
Well, I mean, if you're not going to represent with honor, if you're going to say, hey, y'all need to compromise, but you're not willing to come to the table, but we're the ones in power. I mean, that's like Mississippi. Mississippi will compromise with the 12 Democrats we have. And everybody's like, 2 things. We have a supermajority. Are we used to? This is the reason I want the supermajority back. It's a statement from the people of the state that we want conservative values only. If we didn't, we wouldn't have a supermajority. But also, I've noticed, and it's happened the same thing on the federal level. Republicans will compromise, but okay, guys, we'll come to the table. But Democrats never compromise. They want to just push us farther and farther to the left. They've never once, in my time paying attention to politics, been like, you know what, guys? We're sorry. We'll come to the table. Even with a government shutdown, it was like pulling teeth to get them to compromise.
Exactly. Well, like whenever it comes to the VRA scenario, if the Supreme Court does overturn VRA, the Republicans could get like, I think I saw something of up to like 19 seats, basically. It'd be over because then to put it in perspective, you're getting rid of the seats in Alabama to turn. You're getting rid of the seats in Louisiana to turn. A bunch of seats in Florida. The one blue seat in Kentucky. The one blue seat in Tennessee. Mississippi. You're getting rid of a seat there. A bunch of those seats are VRA protected. If you get rid of that, I don't know if we're advocating overturning VRA or not. I have no too much opinions on it, but if we're in the process where some of these districts we can redistrict them and not just make them as competitive, but split them in our favor after Democrats have done it for years, then absolutely, why not? The VRA probably a whole separate issue. I'm not educated enough to know that, but
I'm not even going to touch this episode.
But for the most part, right now, any seat that you can change, absolutely go for it. Why wouldn't you? Especially when you have the power. That's why North Carolina did it. How North Carolina is it basically comes down between their state house and state senate. The governor and like their state's constitution can't veto when it comes to like redistricting and stuff like that. The governor can't do anything about it because they have a Democrat governor. So that's how they were able to switch a seat around.
Well, I mean, again, if your state is giving you a mandate, in my opinion, if you are a red state, and again, the Democrats have done it, we keep trying to come to this imaginary table that the Democrats keep flipping, mind you. I don't see what the whole bad thing is going to be about it. If you were in a state like, I'm trying to think of a battleground state where it would mean a lot more to take away a couple seats or two. You could make the argument there that you're suppressing voices. But Mississippi or Florida's a bit better one because Florida acts a lot more conservative than we do. It's a red state now. You have the people telling you what they want their government to be. I just don't see the problem with it in those cases.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like we're kind of on the same page for the most part.
Hey, look at us.
We did it.
We did it.
We did it.
That's a sign of a great conservative talk right there, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't really have an opinion on this matter coming in, but I will say this. I think Sam has made me go for it, especially in states that are red, like Ohio. What are you doing? Why?
Again, I told you the map makes me mad. It makes no sense to me.
I'm looking at it. It's on the side of my screen, and it's just an atrocity.
Like I thought I read something at one point where Nevada, which is a swing state now, Trump won it in 24, thankfully, and they have a Republican governor too. That they've adopted the idea, or they may want to try the idea of doing an independent redistricting committee, which may help them because it's one county and it's Clark County, which is Vegas, where Vegas is, that basically rules the entire state because that's where all the population is. And there's only one Republican there, and he represents basically the top half of the state. And there's another seat, it's Nevada's 4th district with Stephen Horsford, where it's kind of a lot of the middle of the state, but because they spliced in parts of Clark County, that's why it's still blue. And it's like North Vegas, basically. But again, it's part of Clark County. Clark County is massive. It's almost the entire bottom of the state. But
yeah, my gosh.
As long as it's there, that's why it's blue. And they still have 2 Democrat senators. But there's also a lot of third party in Nevada. There's a lot of libertarian and independent. So, hey, there's room to come over We can agree on some things for
Yeah,
when it comes to libertarians and independence, but that's beside the point. The point is, a lot of the redistricting fights, don't give up on it. I think there needs to be more pressure on Kansas. There needs to be more pressure in Nebraska. There needs to be maybe even pressure in New Hampshire, because New Hampshire has Republican state house, state senate, and governor, but the governor said no. She didn't want to redistrict. So I think there needs to be some pressure there.
I couldn't agree more. Again, when you have these areas, and I'm not a fan, like I'm not trying to say, for instance, I'm going to take Nevada because you just made a good point. I'm not saying that, Los Angeles, or no, not Los Angeles. Where am I at? Vegas should not have their liberal voices met. This is a country of equal voice. But should they be controlling the whole dead gum state? No. But just like you said, in what was the state you just mentioned? I'm having a brain fart.
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. Senate's Republican, correct?
Yes. So basically, to give you the breakdown, so yes, New Hampshire's been voting blue federally. They have 2 Democrat senators, but on the state level itself, Republicans control the House. They control the state Senate. They control the governor. They just had a Republican governor, Chris Sununu. Now there's a new governor, Kelly Ayotte.
And he's a Republican again.
That's a Republican, yes. So out of 400 seats in New Hampshire, they go off by mayoral legislature. There are 400 seats. There are, of those 400 seats, 217 are Republican. There's 177 Democratic. There's 1 independent. There's 5 vacant. No matter which way you do the math, the Republicans have the majority in that state House and state Senate, and they control the governorship. But the governor said no. She didn't want to do redistricting. And I get it. It's New Hampshire. There's a lot of libertarians.
But that shouldn't factor into it for a Republican. I mean,
if you say you're a Republican anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that's my thing. The only person redistricting would affect in that scenario is the Democrats, not the Libertarians. Heck, half the Libertarians I know vote Republican anyway because their party is small.
Now they have because they have a Senate seat coming up. There's now a congressional seat open that you can change to make more Republican, and you can even win the Senate seat too, because John Sununu, who is a former senator, and the name Sununu carries a lot of weight in New Hampshire, he's running. So now you can have a Republican governor. We can take away something from the Democrats. But again, why you don't want to does not make sense to me. Why do you not want to win? If you're in a competition, you're playing, playing baseball, playing basketball, or whatever. Why don't you want to be on the winning team? Why don't you want to help your team win?
Well, to me, it's the reasoning. Saying that it would affect libertarian. Are we cutting out a libertarian seat that I don't know about?
It's not even
It's not that, is it?
The libertarians might be voting state Republican, but then Democrat federally. I don't understand New Hampshire. I don't understand the optics, the history of New Hampshire, any of that. It's like how Vermont has Democrat state Senate, state House, but they have a very socially liberal Republican governor that endorsed Kamala Harris for president. Scott something. Phil Scott.
No, that's just confusing.
Yeah, he endorsed Kamala Harris in 2024 in case Trump.
But from my viewpoint, that just doesn't make any sense, because the only people that you're hurting are the liberals, not the libertarians, not the conservatives. You're hurting a group that doesn't have a majority in your state. And again, if you're getting these major majorities, what did we say when Trump won? He won the popular vote and the electoral college. That is a mandate.
That means something's got to change.
Yeah. And if your state is giving you a mandate as well, I don't understand how people can look at it and be like, oh, well, I don't know. You're like, again, take Mississippi a year ago. Or heck, no, take Mississippi almost 4 years ago. That way we have the supermajority back. And
even then, like, I understand that Kamala Harris won New Hampshire, but not by much. There was a whole thing of like, that's why she dropped out, or that's why Biden dropped out. Biden would have lost New Hampshire. Biden would have lost maybe Virginia. Biden would have lost maybe New Mexico. That's why Trump did a rally in New Mexico. There was like one poll about it. And Kamala won New Hampshire again, not by much. New Hampshire is a workable state, especially having a Republican majority. Trump only lost New Hampshire by around 3. About 3 points. That's within swing state odds. So there was a mandate from that state almost to make things change. But for some reason, party doesn't want to listen or do anything about it.
It's like I'm pulling it up. I'm trying to look at it a bit more. But
Sometimes it just doesn't make sense. How, a gaggle of us can all make sense more than people that have been doing this for 30 years when they're supposed to have the experience for 30 years.
Yeah, like I'm trying to. That's not right. I'm trying to pull it up anyway, but like again, let's just see if this works before I. New Hampshire House.
Oh, New Hampshire General Assembly. Do General Assembly.
Okay.
You'll be able to pull it up that way. That's how I did it back in then. But New Hampshire can be a competitive district if you actually do redistricting. There's 2 congressional seats. So redistrict the one seat that's already somewhat competitive.
So like they have let's see here. I mean, they only have one independent seat, and that's in the House of their state. So again, if we're talking about hurting libertarian, again, I'm not understanding her reasoning. I'm trying. I'm one of those people. I'll try with you, but when it makes no sense, I'm gonna tell you it makes no sense because from what I'm seeing, Republicans have a pretty good majority. And it's like, okay.
At least in the state, with Kansas anyway, they got the state house, state senate. There's a Democrat governor. So there might be a way to, how they get anything done in that state is by vetoing her vetoes. Missouri, you might be able to redistrict a seat there. Nebraska, I think Nebraska's the exact same way. They just haven't done it. Which, to me, why you don't want to do that, I have no idea.
It's just
doesn't make any sense to me, especially because they had a state senator there that I think gave the supermajority in the state senate. He flipped from Democrat to Republican because he's pro-life, and the Democrat Party didn't want to back him up because he was pro-life, so he left the party to be a Republican.
It's just. Again, it's the mandate that's killing me here. When you get a mandate like this, I don't understand why Republicans are so like, nah, we're good. We're not going to follow the will of the people. And it's blowing my mind. I did not know anything about redistricting.
Unfortunately, it's like a rabbit hole. You kind of just get like sucked down into it.
My golly, we've spoke for 40 minutes. Yeah. Yeah,
I know you need to. Let's. I think we do a commercial break, Harrison. I know this is your podcast, so I'll let you be the judge of that. But I think we need to do a break.
I think the ship has sailed on the break there, big dog. We're actually out of time. I guess. Is there anything you want to say else on redistricting?
Whatever state you listen to in this, whether it be Indiana. It'd be Indiana, Kansas, Nebraska, maybe New Hampshire. We'll throw them in, though. Why not? call your representatives, call whatever you need to do, and put pressure on them. Tell them to redistrict so that way we maintain a majority in the House, and that way after 26, after midterms, we can still have a majority between the House and even the Senate too, and have the presidency to let President Trump do what the American people elected him to do, and that is to change things. We, cleaned up 312 electoral votes, popular vote, 3 branches in every single department that we can think of. Why not win? Be a group of winners. Don't be losers. Be winners.
I don't know if Sam was clear enough for everybody.
But I hate to sound so blunt, but
no, we welcome it on this show, man. But I want to thank Sam for coming on. And in case you don't know, I agree with Sam. I think I've made that clear during this whole conversation. And that's probably my favorite. This is one of my favorite episodes simply because of the conversation me and Sam had just now, a 40-minute conversation somehow about redistricting. When we first talked about it before the show even started, I might have told you, Sam, I don't remember. If not, this all kind of runs together after an hour and 12 minutes. But I was like, I'm kind of unsure on redistricting because in Mississippi, it's been used against us by a Republican of all people.
Mm-hmm.
Republican, Delbert. But, hearing your case for it has really kind of turned me on that. And I feel like if your people are telling you to redistrict, you should do it. So I'm going to echo what Sam said and say, everybody, please contact your representative. Tell them it's time. It's time we help President Trump. It's time we help our own states. Mississippi, listen. We'll see. But I want to thank Sam for coming on. He made this show real easy for me. I can kind of sometimes be lost without my partner in crime, Graves, and the fact that we had to take a 40-minute recess of this episode, right slam dab in the middle of it. I can't thank Sam enough. And for Sam to do research during that time I was getting this stuff for the breaking news we covered, for the redistricting, pulling up stuff on his computer if you heard that typing in your car.
They definitely heard it. They definitely heard me. I'm click clack away. And this is something that I've followed a lot anyway, and at least in our kind of circle, I typically kind of know what's going on, especially when it comes to the competitive sides of everything. That's the other thing for the House races, Senate races, and governor. But it's having access to that information and being able to recite it anyway. A lot goes into it, and it's like when you have conversations like this, that someone like what Harrison said, who came into a redistricting conversation not knowing too much, hearing about it but not really following it, and hearing someone lay out their case and being able to change someone's mind and offer a fresh perspective is kind of what we were found upon, I think, for the most part, is just the power of conversation. And the access to knowledge has a lot to that. So I would always encourage people to do research, deep dive, go nuts, go crazy, sound like a conspiracy theorist half the time, and just deep dive down and go for it. But yeah, no, this is something that I follow, and it's obviously, I think, realizing now, definitely something to be passionate about. And I want to see us win. I don't want us to be a bunch of losers. I want us to be winners. We're already losing seats in California because of this. Although there might be an appeal to this. I think they might be going to one of the branches to try to overturn it. They tried doing it in Texas, actually. Some judge or whoever tried canceling it. They took it to the Supreme Court, and Justice Alito threw it back down. At least it's there for 2026. The Supreme Court will fight about it. But it's there for 2026 is the last thing that I just read about it. So the Texas map, it looks like, is here to stay. So we're going to get at least maybe 4 or 5 seats in Texas.
Well, that's a great win. And, I think the greatest thing about the conservative movement is what me and Sam just demonstrated. conversation. If me and Sam were both liberals and we had a disagreement, it would have been major. Sam or I would have shot each other, or tried to bury the other. You know how liberals are. But even if a liberal came in unsure about something, it's very you're drinking the juice of the Democrat Party. If you're a liberal, whatever that party says goes. But that's what I love about being a conservative. Is me and Sam talked about something. He informed me of some stuff that I did not know about. He brought some stuff to my attention, and I ended up agreeing with Sam. And as I said, with Graves on the show before, me and Sam might not agree on everything, but we agree on a lot. And at the end of the day, I feel like me and Sam can shake our hands. And even if we ended up disagreeing about something, it had probably been during the the rabbit hole we went down during the break.
Well, you know what? We can at least agree that this Ohio map sucks. I think we can at least agree on that one.
Yeah, you have me on the
I
redistricting.
encourage people to look at it, especially if you live in Ohio too. It's absolutely an atrocious map, and I'm so mad about it. I wish maybe there's a way to overturn it or something. I have no idea. I don't know anything about how Ohio legislature works, but if there's a way to overturn it, awesome. If not, I guess we're stuck with it. But it's a bad map.
It's a disjustice,
and it looks ugly.
It's awful. Golly,
not only is it a bad map because it doesn't give us what we need, which is more seats. It's just an ugly map. It just looks atrocious. I can't imagine being like a representative and showing that like this is the district I represent, and it looks like it's like how I said one of the ones in Maryland looks like an S. It just looks like scoliosis.
Have you seen some people when they run for state senate or federal level stuff, they'll put their district on the map instead of the whole state, showing who they specifically represent. I want to see some of these districts in Ohio put their district on their.
Whenever you have time, look up Maryland. Maryland's just as bad.
Oh, it's tell me that. Well, before we
Maryland
leave,
congressional districts, and you'll see exactly what I mean. It's absolutely atrocious.
All right, before we go off the show, I have to see what in the Sam Hill is this?
I told you it's bad. I'm telling you.
What is this?
You see the one that I told you looks like an S. It looks like scoliosis.
Yeah. What is this? Who thought this was a good idea?
The state of Maryland doesn't make sense to me. I don't like the way that it's drawn. But one of those districts should be competitive because it's like a lot of the country of Maryland. It's like the left side, which is like Allegheny and Garrett counties, where I know those areas. I was only like an hour and a half from them.
Why does one district look like a sail ship? A sailboat. What is this? I feel like I'm looking at Peter Pan. What?
I'm telling you, it's an atrocious map. It's
I didn't see who posted this picture, but it's the Washington Post, and I love how the Washington Post, and Sam, you'd think the Washington Post is pretty liberal, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is their tagline for this story: how Maryland Democrats pulled off their aggressive gerrymandering.
Exactly.
They've been doing it, people, and that's my gosh almighty, that's awful. That bothers me more than Ohio.
It's aesthetically, it's like an aesthetic. At least with West Virginia, where I'm from, top half, bottom half, it looks fine. It looks clean.
Well, again, you put these districts in districts of similar beliefs, and that's just obviously not what you're doing. You're trying to get more. Oh my gosh.
I told you it's bad. We'll have to do a riff about it.
Oh gosh, that's coming.
We need Graves in on it too. We need him to react to because I feel like he's got a lot of things he would be able to say about it.
Oh, I would love.
This
to
is just
see
the
his
rabbit hole that I
reaction to
fall
this.
down into. It gets very bad. It gets very
What have you
crazy.
done to me? You've taken me down this rabbit hole.
What have I done to you? What have I done to me? This is what I do to myself. But you know what? It is what it is, and that's what I like.
Oh gosh, but I do want to thank Sam for coming on. We ended up talking for we've ended up talking for another 20 minutes.
And on that note,
but I hope you guys have enjoyed this this longer episode of the show. I know I have. I've had a great time with Sam. I hate that Graves hasn't been on. Hopefully we can figure out something next week. With it being Thanksgiving, it's going to be iffy for all of us. But I would love to come and talk about more of everything and just kind of get back into the swing of things again. It's always good to have Sam on, and I'm glad Sam's back. It's been way too long without having Sam on the show. So thank you for coming back, Sam. And I guess just to remind everybody to check us out on our main platform, Spreaker, but we're also on Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Audible, Cashbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Listen Notes, and Good Pods. But we also released a video format of the show on YouTube. You can check all this information out and our store at conservativekernel.com. Make sure to get the Mitch McConnell Make Conservative Great Again shirt. Taking inspiration from Obama's, I think, 2008 Hope poster. It's some of the funniest work I think I've done. It's glorious. It makes me laugh every time I see it. So go check that out. Thank you all for listening. Leave a 5-star review. Share this out. And we will see you guys hopefully next week, and hoping to have Sam back on. So we'll see what happens. But until next time, God bless America. And God bless Mississippi.